I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan. I am not here to convince Mortal Kombat fans that their precious baby is kind of mediocre. They are entitled to consume content. I am just here to point out that this movie wasn't for me for a variety of reasons that you may relate to. I remember watching the first movie in a motel late at night and I fell asleep halfway through it. Don't worry, I watched the Dead Meat recap, so we're good. I love a good action movie, but this was just boring. Okay, not to get technical, but Sideways has a great video that talks about how musicals work, essentially. He states that when emotions are too strong for words, characters start singing, and then when emotions are too strong for that, characters start dancing. I would like to think that in action movies, the same logic will apply. Like when emotions are too strong for words, characters start fighting. Think about the final fight in Captain America Civil War. Words were not enough, so they started fighting, and it felt emotionally impactful. The build-up to the fight was clear, so the payoff of the fight was deserved. Mortal Kombat 2 has one instance of this payoff, and it's at the very end with Katana versus Shao Kahn. And guess what? The fight was pretty sweet. Every other fight, however, carries little to no weight. The nature of Mortal Kombat requires fights to occur without character input. Somebody has to lose the fight because the gods need this tournament or something like that. Johnny Cage points this out beautifully. There are no rules except that someone has to lose. Why does this tournament happen? Completely beats me. The gods probably just need something to watch while eating dinner. Because the fights carry no weight, the results of the fights are also dull. The movie will attempt to draw some emotion from the viewer with extremely simplistic character dynamics, but it just doesn't work. The ending also doesn't support the idea that these fights are supposed to mean something. So if there are no emotional stakes in the fights, then I don't care about the fights. And if the Mortal Kombat movie is only about fighting, then the whole movie is just kind of boring. There is at least an attempt at writing characters through the main protagonist duo of Johnny Cage and Katana, but it's so predictable and easy. Katana wants revenge for the death of her father. I wonder if she's going to enact revenge against Shao Kahn. Johnny Cage is a washed-up actor who lacks purpose. I wonder if he is going to find his purpose through Mortal Kombat. It's not a bad thing to have simplistic characters. I just don't believe it's a good thing either when they are the main characters. Also, coming as a casual viewer, I don't know if sidelining the protagonist of the previous film was a good decision. I have read that the fans don't particularly like Cole Young, but I don't really care. The way this movie treats Cole Young is such a blatant admittance to failure, and I think it's more sad than admirable. I'm not a fan though, so don't get mad. I wasn't all that impressed with any other character either. The constant jokes were also throwing me off of whatever tone this movie was trying to set. A scene would feature a brutal fatality, and then the next scene would feature Kano making an unfunny joke when Johnny Cage has to fight Katana, and because he's underprepared, he's obviously gonna get his butt kicked. So it's supposed to be funny, which is juxtaposed poorly with fights that feature violent, serious deaths. I mean, Cole Young's death was pretty funny. If the movie isn't going to be funny consistently, then why have these dumb, quippy moments all the time if they don't land? Does the film adopt a comedic tone because the director understands that Mortal Kombat is a silly concept? If that was the case, why not make the entire movie funny? Having both a serious and comedic tone gives the movie this tonal imbalance that does not work in favor of the story. Not that the story was great anyway. The beginning of the movie hooks you into this story of revenge with Katana at the forefront, and then it halts that to focus on a different character with an unrelated conflict. The movie wraps Johnny Cage and Katana into one arc about becoming a hero, but I don't feel that it lands. Katana's arc doesn't really correlate to being a hero so much as being a savior for her people. Being a hero in the context of Mortal Kombat is defeating the bad guys. It's very cut and dry, which isn't a problem for Johnny Cage as a character, but it leaves Katana feeling like an afterthought when her arc isn't as clear. I would have preferred her to be the main character of the movie and have Johnny Cage be the supporting audience insert in the tournament. That would have given the story a better focus. As is, the story is messy, convoluted, convenient, and drags. The story is almost an afterthought for the fight scenes, which I understand was probably the point, but that just doesn't work for me personally. I would love to jump into the world of Mortal Kombat at some point in the future. The game games likely do a much better job at portraying this world and its inhabitants. And I had some fun with Mortal Kombat 2, but I would like my popcorn movies to actually be decent instead of pure eye candy.